Demonstrate for me the strength of your resolve.
That was a heck of a fight! I'm giving you my main dish at dinner tonight as a reward.
Godeater 3 is a game that can take many hours of your life, but with a reasonable length platinum journey of around 50, it's something of a quicker experience than other games that share the genre. It's fashioned after the tried and tested gameplay loop of Monster Hunter, where you slay giant monsters, take their unique materials, and then use them to craft or upgrade equipment, to then of course repeat the loop and fight giant monsters again. Everything in this game felt familiar whilst also being brand new to me. I really liked the weapons and the movement, and especially enjoyed the different burst skills of each weapon, which drastically changed the properties of existing moves into really cool, powerful variants whilst you're in a meter called Burst. Burst happens after you devour a monster, a very special attack that turns your weapon into a literal godeater that takes a chunk out of whatever Aragami is unfortunate to be within range. Aragami being the name of the monsters that populate this series. I've never played a godeater before this one, and I normally don't jump into the third entry of a series without playing its predecessors, but I decided to take the dive with this one. The gameplay looked fun and engaging, and I was interested in the story. As with most anime I watch, I decided to give godeater 3 a chance after watching the intro one day, and in true anime fashion, the story is bonkers. Young adults and children are forced to fight monsters known as Aragami, which have overtaken the world and polluted it with ash, an environmental hazard only our young cast of heroes can withstand, long enough to repel the monsters from the remains of human civilization. They fight for a government that undermines them and treats them as subhuman. The characters all share common arcs of belonging, finding their way, friendship, courage, and the uncanny trait of being able to wield weapons 10 times their size. After shenanigans, your created character becomes part of a roaming, mercenary caravan of sorts, tasked with transporting some very important cargo, which leads to all sorts of trouble. In between ordinary missions where the big bads must be fought and devoured, regular cutscenes move the story along at a satisfying pace, steadily introducing new characters, monsters, and environments. Let's break down and devour the main game plan to earn this platinum. The trophies are straightforward enough and easily earned to begin with. My early advice to make this platinum obtainable within 50 hours would be this: choose a weapon and stick to it, whether it's a melee weapon or a gun, because the most trusted ally trophy wants you to use the same weapon for 200 missions. Secondly, a trophy is awarded for completing a mission with an ally who has learnt all of their personal abilities. Ability points are awarded at the end of a mission for each character, and then skills are purchased accordingly. Use the character of your choice whenever you can to give them as much AP as possible. You can also teach every ally the abilities Pep Talk 3 and Focus 3 ASAP. This increases AP gain for the entire team and each party member respectively, speeding up the AP needed to learn all of the abilities by a massive amount. I would say generally the platinum is split into 3 segments. The initial segment will award trophies for the first use of the game systems and some early story trophies. Activate Engage with an ally for the Togetherness trophy. Engage being a meter gain you can build between allies, bestowing beneficial skills to you both once activated. Break your first enemy bond, which is basically breaking monster parts for you monster hunters out there. These weaken the Aragami, change their behavior, and usually to your advantage, although it can make them more aggressive. Activate your first acceleration trigger for Technical Expert. I really like this mechanic. Effects activate after certain prerequisites are met. There are a lot of different ones to equip and can really change your playstyle. My go-to was after landing a number of attacks, my attack speed then increased by 40% for 30 seconds. There are a wide variety of accelerations, and each complements different playstyles in really interesting ways. A trophy called Shared Power successfully used a link burst. So devouring an origami gifts you an origami bullet. Switching to gun mode allows you to fire this powerful variant bullet, or by pressing R1 and triangle, will link burst a targeted ally, putting them into burst. This will award you the trophy. Probably the most basic trophy in the whole game is to upgrade equipment for the first time. You'll be doing this a lot. Each weapon and equipment has 7 ranks, with many different types and elemental differences. From this point on is what I consider the second segment of the Platinum, which is mostly story related, to be honest, for progressing and defeating certain origami along the way. I also got break 100 bonds around here. This part is pretty chill, the story is enjoyable and the characters likable. I ended up finishing the main story here without earning any other miscellaneous trophies, which pretty much leaves you at the final segment of the Platinum, the completion of the grindier and harder trophies. Activate Engage with every ally. Easy enough, just ensure to use the full roster, which you unlock as you progress through the story, one of which after you complete the story. You'll also have to earn a triple S rank on 40 missions, which will come naturally as you complete the remaining optional missions. It sounds harder than it is. The prerequisites for a triple S rank are pretty low. I think it's mainly based on time completed and how many times you fainted during the mission, which in this game is called endurance. A real treasure is awarded for obtaining your first piece of rank 7 equipment. The hardest rank missions award the rarest and top tier materials that will allow you to craft the best equipment. Craft anything rank 7 for this trophy. I mentioned this trophy at the start. Called An Irreplaceable Friend, beat a mission with an ally who has learned all of their personal abilities. Now this one takes a while, but we're certainly getting there with the grindier ones. There are a certain number of missions that are better than others for farming AP, but if you have those 2 abilities I mentioned earlier, Focus and Pep Talk, this should be doable somewhere around endgame. Now the hardest trophy in the game is called Ultimate Skill. Complete the mission Twilight of the Hounds. This is the ultimate challenge of the game, considered the hardest optional mission. It only unlocks once all rank 7 optional missions have been completed. You'll be facing against every main boss in the game, consecutively. These powerful origami have their own devour attacks, which alter their already powerful movesets into something very, very dangerous. Take advantage of consumables, the health fountains scattered around, and of course, try and have rank 7 equipment for your best chance of success. Trust in your weapon of choice, spam your favorite burst skills, and give them hell. It was really satisfying when I got this, and yeah, it's definitely the hardest trophy in the game. This trophy requires you to craft a rank 7 equipment for every weapon, gun, and shield type. There are 7 weapons, 3 guns, and 3 shields. I looked at what I had, what I needed to upgrade, and farmed the materials necessary for the next rank. Whilst pretty grindy, this was fun to go back to earlier rank missions and find the materials needed. I just focused on one type at a time and eventually got it to pop. You'll likely run out of money during this, but I forgot I had been picking up treasure items around the map. As mission rewards and from devouring, these can be sold via the terminal for a good money boost. Other than that, there are some missions that award more money than others, and also some skills that increase mission rewards that may help with this trophy. And lastly, most trusted ally. Use one type of melee weapon or gun for 200 missions. The very first trophy I mentioned was the last one I needed. I repeatedly did rank 1 missions, killing the first origami within 10 seconds. It didn't take long to get the remaining number needed and for the platinum to pop. But you can check your progress in your player cards whenever to give you an idea of how many you might need. And there's the platinum, which I got at the same time. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with godeater 3. It's like a faster, more wacky version of Monster Hunter. Not quite as involved or deliberate in its crafting, preparation for missions, or monster weaknesses even as Capcom's best-selling flagship game, but that might be a strength to godeater. It's different enough to stand out in its aesthetic, mechanics and gameplay compared to Monster Hunter. It cemented me as a fan of the series now, and I've since purchased godeater 2, which awesomely came with the remaster of godeater 1, originally released on the PSP. I'm currently playing this and having a really damn good time. Was I late to the godeater party? Probably. I mean, I'd be interested if any of you have tried this series before and what you think of it, but let me know in the comments anyway. I hope you've enjoyed today's Platinum video. Please subscribe if you have. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next time. See ya.